the mid-1800s, a boy by the name of Rodney Smith was born in a gypsy tent in Epping Forest, just 6 miles outside of London. He received no education, and his family was poor. They made a living by selling baskets, tinware, and clothespins, and any other things that they could find. His father, Cornelius, played a violin in the pubs, and young Rodney would dance and collect money for the entertainment. That's how they made their livelihood. Again, they were gypsies. That's who they were. But it wasn't until the age of 16 that Rodney trusted Christ as his Savior. And immediately after salvation, he got a Bible, he got an English dictionary and a Bible dictionary, and began carrying them with him everywhere he went. And as he did, sometimes people would laugh at him and say, "Why do you have those? You don't even know how to read." To which he would answer, he said, "Never you mind. One day I'm going to be able to read them, and one day I'm going to preach too. God has called me to preach." And so he taught himself to read, to write, and he began to practice preaching, even going into the turnip fields and preaching to the turnips there in the fields. He practiced preaching and singing, and he would often go into the street corners there in London and sing hymns to those who were passing by, and he was known soon after as the singing gypsy boy. So for 6 years, he would preach and sing and just serve in gospel missions in the corners of London for 6 years. And during this time, the name Gypsy Smith took hold, and that's the name that he began to be known by. Well, Gypsy Smith was greatly used of the Lord in England and in America. He made several trips to America, preaching evangelistic crusades, and all across England, all across America, God used him to see thousands of people come to Christ. And on his last preaching trip to America, Gypsy Smith, now an old man, stood up to preach, and yet he still preached with the same fervor and passion that he did from the very beginning. And at the end of the service, one older gentleman came up to him and said, "Gypsy, I heard you the first time you came to America some 50 years ago." He said, "My, how you blessed my heart then, and I have never forgotten it." He said, "But again tonight, my heart was stirred and warmed in just the same way." He said, "Gypsy, tell me, what is your secret? How are you able to still preach the same way after all these years?" To which Gypsy replied, "Sir, I have never lost the wonder of it all."